Trying to ensure that everyone knows how to complete each of the skills in the transformation of parent functions activity. So this is a video going through each one of the skills. So this one is the first one, transformations of functions, A1 discovery. So what you can see is it says transform the solid black function to match the dotted function. So I currently need to look at changing the numbers in the boxes in order to move this graph from where it is here up to here. So what I want you to understand is that if this number changes from a positive to a negative, you should see that the graph is going to flip over. Well, that doesn't help me. So positive, I want to stay up. So we need to remember that that flips the graph over. In fact, it flips it over the x. And perhaps you should write this down. If we add a negative up front, or if it's a negative coefficient of any kind, it flips it over the x. Okay. Now, if the function is inside the parentheses, or if it is underneath the radical, if it is inside with the x, then this number moves it right or left. But what we have to keep in mind is that it's the opposite. So normally, a positive 3 would move it to the right 3. So normally, a positive 3 would move it to the right. But that is not the case for this particular placement. When it is inside here, it is the opposite. So a negative moves it to the right, and a positive moves it to the left. There's a very long explanation for it, but just trust it. So if I'm looking at this vertex to this vertex, I have to move it to the left one box. That means I'm going to plus 1. And we can see that it moved to the left one. And then the last number is going to tell us how much it moves up or down. Now this one is normal. So plus is up and down is negative. So I need it to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to simply type in plus 5. So again, this flips it. This number has to be the opposite of, so this is going to be, if I want to move it right, it has to be a negative. If I want to move it left, it is a positive. And then this last number moves it up or down. Okay. Next skill is the parent functions matching. This I have given flashcards, I have given a link for Quizlet. I have tried to help you repeatedly on this. This, you need to get 10 of them correct in a row. There is no time. But you can see that this is going to be a straight line. This is a constant. This is an exponential graph. This is 1 over x. This is absolute value. So it's just matching your parent functions. So if you need to go to the link that has flashcards or what, need to make sure you get that taken care of. Okay, I thought I did hit stop. Next skill is to translate. Level 1. Okay, so the reason why we did the first skill, the transformation discovery, is so that this is a little bit easier. So now it's a different shaped graph, and that's perfectly fine. The -1, remember, this is with the x, so it's going to move it right or left, and it's the opposite. So normally it would be left 1, but it is going to be right 1. And on this skill, make sure you grab the green dot. If you grab the blue dot and kind of move it up a little bit, hit the start over button. So again, this one is with the x, so it is going to be the opposite. Normally -3 would be left 3, but I'm going to move it right 3. And just grab the green dot. That is the vertex. It is inside. Normally, +5 would be to the right. This time I'm going to move it to the left 5. Grab the green dot. And that's all you have to do for level 1 questions. No matter what it looks like. So if it's an absolute value, if it's a cubic, if it's a cube root, it doesn't matter. It will give you the parent function. You grab the green dot and move it. Level 2 is going to add both positions. So here I'm going to move it to the left 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. So your level 2, you're just kind of getting a little more difficulty. There it is. Sorry, the finding all the skills is not the easiest thing always. Not polynomial graphs. Function, there it is. Now we're going to reflect. Okay, so remember that when we did that the first time, if the negative was in front, it flipped it across the x-axis. Here, the negative is with the x. So when the negative is with the x, you're going to flip it across the y-axis. So you're going to grab any one of these 3 points, but you have to pay attention. If you go over 3, you need to go up 8. So we're going to flip it across the y-axis, and you have to be on the same 8, but land on the -3. So again, when the negative is in front of the x, you flip it over the y-axis. So the negative is in front of the x, so I'm going to flip it over the y-axis. Here, I'm going to flip it over the y-axis. No, this one I'm going to flip over the x-axis. Because it's in front. This is inside, so I would reflect it across the y. Out front reflects it across the x. This one is with the x, so I'm going to flip it across the y. If there were no parentheses and it were outside, I would flip it over the x. So here, I'm going to flip it over the y. Oh, wait, it's the exact same. If it were outside of the absolute value, so if the formula had been y equals the negative absolute value of x, that's when I would have reflected it over the x. Okay? Now, transforming mixed, this is going to give you a mix of it. So it's going to give you some that have some negatives and some pluses and minuses. So what I would do is to reflect it first. So always deal with your negatives first. So this one is with my x. That means I'm going to transform it over the y. So do your reflection first and make sure that it's lined up properly. Then grab your green dot to move it up to. Do your negative first. So that's going to move it across the x. And then grab your green dot and move it up 4. And then the last one is just putting all of it together. So when you're looking at this kind of a skill, I think it's best to just focus on one location. So I see I'm going to have to move this up and to the right. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I didn't notice. This actually corresponds to this. It has been flipped across the x-axis. So, the y-axis. This has been reflected across the y-axis. So, if it's been flipped across the y, my negative needs to be out front. And then we have to move it up 5. Ooh, wait. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, up 5, which means it's not here. It is with the x, and it's a +5. Notice how I have to use problem-solving skills. in order to figure this out. Okay. I'm reflecting it across the x and shifting it to the right one. So to the right one means it's going to be a minus 1. So I can tell very quickly it's going to be this one. This simply moved it down and to the left. So down is a minus 1, so we're going to use one of these two. And to the left would be a plus 1. Okay, so you should be able to complete all of these skills. Please ask for questions if you need help.